Okay, welcome back, guys, to another ESPN video. I'm joined by the one and only Colin Udoh. Colin, thank you for joining us. We just watched Nigeria take on Tunisia, and one of the most exciting games of the tournament thus far. I'd say exciting if you're neutral, but if you're a Nigeria fan, it got a bit tense towards the end there, didn't it?
Oh yeah, could have given some people some aneurysms. I was in palpitation just down here watching that, thinking, "Oh my God, what's going on?" You go from 3-0 up, and then 3-1. You're thinking, "Okay, Nwabali slipped there," so you give him that. But then all of a sudden, PK 3-2, and everything just goes bananas.
Yeah, literally. I think like it almost was like you said in 3-0. Even with the performance, I feel it was like we were in cruise control. As in Nigeria were in cruise control. Tunisia didn't pose too much of a threat. They had moments, but they didn't pose too much of a threat. And then the goal went in, and then I think it just changed the momentum of the game completely, didn't it? So
Yeah.
I want to get your thoughts.
That's what a goal does for you. When you score one goal, you tend
Yeah,
to get a lot more confident, and then you want to try and get another one, and then another one. And I think that it was just unfortunate because watching the replays, I thought that Stanley Nwabali could have saved that. But if you see, I think the wet pitch, his standing foot just kind of slipped, and then he went down, and the ball just got past him, and then from then on, Tunisia just kind of picked up confidence and started pushing and pushing, and Nigeria just seemed to cede territory to them and just, didn't look like they were in it. For a team that dominated the game for what, over an hour plus, an hour, 20 minutes or thereabouts, they just kind of give it up and let Tunisia to have their way.
yeah, literally. It was mad how the game just changed like that. It was nice to see the team. I feel like they built that confidence, and the celebrations were. It started to get more and more chest out. But I want to talk to you, Colin, about Osimhen. Obviously, Osimhen, which was a crazy stat. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, of course. I believe maybe his first goal in this competition.
His second, actually, his first one at the last tournament, I think it was against Sudan, if I'm not mistaken. But was his 10th AFCON game, and it's
Yeah,
only his second goal. It's almost unbelievable. And there's something that many folks don't know. He's had, counting the offside goal he had disallowed today, he's had 5 goals disallowed at AFCON, which is remarkable. But hey, look,
yeah,
I am so thrilled for him because it was almost like a Kanu light kind of situation. Kanu played 27 AFCON games spanning 6 tournaments and did not score a single goal, but his assist helped Nigeria win a lot of games. I think there was one game where he had 3 assists in one game. So I was hoping that Osimhen wouldn't be in the same situation, but thankfully he wasn't. He has scored his goal. That brings him to 5 goals below Rashidi Yekini. So now he only needs 6 more goals to become Nigeria's highest ever goal scorer in history. So I'm so thrilled for Victor Osimhen.
yeah. Well, I think it's it was kind of almost typical of his performance, of his luck, I guess, because he had the header earlier on, which is it's interesting because I feel like that header was so much easier than the one that he actually scored. But that's strikers, and sometimes they need 2 or 3 to get going. It was a great header in the end. But I wanted to talk to you about Lookman's performance as well. Obviously, he came with 2 assists and a great goal. What are your thoughts on his performance, man? I feel like there was questions about him going into the tournament about can he regain that form and that African Player of the Year form, and I think he's really showing that he wants to step up this tournament.
Oh yes, certainly. Look, um, while I wouldn't say I questioned him coming to this tournament, I think what I said in my ESPN Africa preview was that our Cup of Nations preview was that if we need to see that Lookman who won that African Player of the Year, because if we see him at this tournament, then first of all, even on the days when Osimhen doesn't play well, we can still win games. And if Osimhen plays well, we're practically unstoppable. And then now we have the addition of Akor Adams. So that front three right now is almost like irresistible. Like they're almost unplayable when they get on the game. But if I see that Ademola Lookman was not, because we haven't checked while we have taping this. If Ademola Lookman does not get the MVP of the game today, I think I'm going to go there and practically, strangle. Okay, that's probably the shock, but I'm going to do things to everybody at camp because nobody else deserves man of the match. 2 assists, 1 goal, great link-up play. It was like heartbeat, the engine room of that team. There was nothing good that Nigeria did that Lookman was not involved in. So credit to him. Fantastic game today.
Yeah, he was really, really good. And he looked so confident as well, man. And even the goal he took, it was interesting as well. We're talking about Osimhen not scoring as many goals as he maybe would like to. And then as a striker, he's through on goal, and then he obviously played it back to Lookman.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, this is a real team chemistry then, because he's willing to obviously put his teammate in.
I think when other teams see that, the one thing I can tell them is be afraid. Be very afraid. Because, like I said, when you've got Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, and Paul Adams playing the way they played today, not just, in being able to, the things they did, controlling the ball, link up play, shooting, taking chances, but the fact that there's this such a great team chemistry, such unselfishness. I mean, who would have thought that twice Victor Osimhen would find himself in a position to score and would cut the ball back for Lookman in a better position. The first time it didn't quite play out. I think maybe Lookman wasn't expecting it, but the second time he took his time, went past one player and boom, go. So when they are playing like this, and then the midfield is holding firm with what Sekoshel did. I mean, I think I talked about him, not playing a diamond against Tunisia because they might get killed. And instead, he needs two midfielders playing a double pivot, and that's exactly what he did. Frank Onyeka came in to play that double pivot with Wilfred Ndidi, and Tunisia did not get a sight of the ball in midfield for most of the game. And then you got the front three playing the way they did. Like I said, for the opposition, be afraid, be very, very afraid.
No, I like that. I like that for sure. Because I do feel like, yeah, the midfield was really, really good today as well. Especially Iwobi. I know we've talked about Iwobi before on the pod, and he's playing really well. Like some of the passes he was bringing to break lines and that he's showing like a real senior figure in this team now. But we have to give credit to Tunisia because somehow they managed to get back into this game and they nearly it was a really exciting game in the last 15 minutes. I thought Hannibal played really well. And obviously they get one back. But the penalty is what I really wanted to ask you about, Gordon, because obviously I think it was yesterday we were talking about Egypt and the VAR, etc., etc. And the way you explained it yesterday about how the body's not in a natural position, I feel like because he's jostling with the attacker, as in I can't remember who gave the penalty. Osei like he's jostling with the defender. When it's his arm, it's in a natural position, but it's Can you kind of elaborate on that as to why it was given?
Yeah, so you could actually argue that both ways, because in this case, first of all, when you look at his hands actually on the defender's body, almost like it was pushing him, which in other circumstances might be. I mean, as a ref, I would call that as a foul. If he was anywhere outside the box, because he kind of like used the defender to elevate himself also, that which is where his hand was. If he was just jumping naturally, you would say, okay, yes, his arm could spread, because if you look at the attacker, his hand was also spread when he jumped. So if he was spread out wide there, I would say it's a natural position. But in this case, he was actually like, using the defender as part of the, to elevate himself, and left his hand there. So in that case, you could argue that it made his body unnaturally bigger, which is why the penalty was given. And, I would say it was a correct call.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. This is what this is the knowledge that we need, my friend. Yeah, because I was kind of like, I was especially looking at the one we spoke about yesterday, and then looking at that. How can we like kind of interpret these differently? Well, yeah, obviously the game ends. I think there was a moment in probably like the 92nd, 93rd minute where Nigeria did put their foot on the ball and they did kind of just slow it down a bit and kind of regain a bit of composure. And I think that if they would have done that maybe 10 minutes earlier, maybe the game wouldn't have got as chaotic as it did. But it was good for Nigeria to see it out in that sense. Moving forward then, obviously now Nigeria, we were discussing just before we started recording who Nigeria could face. It could be Gabon, it could be Zambia. What path would you prefer, I guess, for Nigeria to take? Which game do you think would be the better route?
Well, to be honest, I think the most important thing for Nigeria is winning the group, which they've done now. Because even if Tunisia were to win and Nigeria were to lose against Uganda, the head-to-head means that Nigeria will still finish on 6 points, and Tunisia will finish on 6 points. Nigeria will win that and be group winners. So we won the group. The next thing is you want to look at, okay, we play the best third place team from either Group A, B, or F. And the way it stands now, we'll practically have a better picture after the second round of games are completely played. But it's either Gabon or Zambia, the way it's looking. To be honest, I don't mind any of those two. We've played Gabon recently. I think we beat them 4-1 in the World Cup qualifying playoffs. Zambia are always a tough nut to crack, but they're not looking quite as good in this tournament. So I guess the easy, and I put that in quote, the easy game would be a team like Zambia, But let's not forget there's also a Group B team that might get a chance to come on. But in any case, I think when you get to this point, the most important thing is, just qualify and make sure that you're able to win. It doesn't matter who comes in there. I mean, the last time we were in this position in 2021, we met Tunisia and we got knocked out by a sucker punch from Yusuf Nsakni.
Yeah, so I guess as much as the quote easier route will be, look, man, you can't take your foot off the gas and you can't take your eye off the ball, especially at AFCON. Colin, last time I asked you about the performance, I asked you to give it a rating out of 10, Nigeria's opening game. What would you give this one? What would you give this performance out of 10?
So, barring that last quarter hour, if I kind of put that aside, I probably give them anything between an 8 or a 9 out of 10, because this was an absolutely phenomenal performance by the Super Eagles. But, if I factor in, actually, barring that set, I would have given them like a 9. But factoring in that last quarter hour where they sort of gave things away, I'd say I'll give them an 8. It was an outstanding performance. And let's not forget that Tunisia are a great team themselves. They are former champions. They've got some. Some Medjugorje is a phenomenal player by its own right, and they've got a really, really good team. Travelsi, a great coach. So I guess an 8 would be a great one to give them credit for.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, and you're right as well. Tunisia are a great team, so to have such a strong performance against a strong team like Tunisia is always a positive thing. Well, Colin, thank you so much again for joining me on the pod. We will be here talking more AFCON throughout the tournament, and no doubt you'll see us again, man. So thanks again for joining, Colin, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks a lot, mate. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.